Before we get started with today's episode, we wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. That is Eric Sari, Andy Herbrand, we've got Lauren L. and Paul C., and of course, Nate Hansen with Hansen Screen Printing.
And Paul C., if you can reach out to us and let us know how to pronounce your last name. We just don't want to pronounce it wrong, which is why we haven't said your full last name.
Yeah.
If you want to just tell us how to say it. And also thank you for reaching out too. I'm hoping one of these days we can go up to your deer camp and maybe film something. So thank you for reaching out to us. We appreciate that.
Hey, welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sari.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin, history, music, culture, and beer. Although we don't often use strong language, the content is not intended for young audiences, so listener discretion is advised.
If you love the bluegrass music you hear in this intro, please check out Dang It's from Madison, Wisconsin by visiting their website, dang-its.com. Now on to the show.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Wisconsin Drunken History.
I like this intro.
Yeah. This one's a little wild, right? So this is, of course, Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast, your weekly dose of the Dairy State. And we, of course, are your hosts. I'm Eric.
And I'm Russ.
And today we have a little history coming from the Waukesha County area, specifically Genesee Depot, which if you haven't been over there, it's down 59.
Yep.
You kind of run into it after North Prairie.
59, you're going to hit it at some point.
Beautiful little area. Love the country drive. We are talking about 10 Chimneys. It is a house, and we are talking about the people kind of behind that masterpiece. That's Lynn, Fontanne, and Alfred Lunt. Is it Hunt or Lunt?
It's Lunt.
Okay. And we have great Wisconsin music from Folk Circus, which absolutely amazing stuff. Russ, we were just kind of jamming to that track before we started here. I absolutely love Folk Circus and everything that they do. Their music is absolutely phenomenal. We have another Brewski Reviewski, which, hey, these are getting really good.
Yeah, we got some good ones
that
coming up.
That last one from Company was amazing.
Yeah, great stuff.
We have another edition of How Many Locals You At? MF. In a special interview today again, which is amazing. I'm sure you didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But of course, we have an interview to just present to you, and we've talked to some interesting people. So remember, as always, like us, rate us, subscribe, do all the things, man. I'm super into what we're doing here at Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast, and the thing that kind of keeps us turning and burning here, not only the Patreon stuff, but your likes and rates and subscribes and all that stuff really honestly helps so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's more than you even imagine would be the case. You just hitting the subscribe button on YouTube or giving us a 5-star review and leaving a comment on Apple Podcast, those things just boost us even more.
And we continue to grow month over month, and we really appreciate everyone for, spreading the word. And, like we said, we're never going to lose who we are. We just want to be able to promote some of this music, get the word out there about the history, talk about some of these beers in Wisconsin, and let you maybe even hear from one of these makers of the beer you're drinking, or a museum or somebody famous.
And if you drop by any of these places that we've talked about, and maybe we were the driving force in guiding you there, tell them that. Be like, hey, let's say you show up.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe you show up at Mobcraft. Maybe literally say to them, hey, we're checking you guys out because we heard about you on, this Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. Really cool stuff. Also, hey, go check out our website, WisconsinDrunkenHistory.com. We are, we're the builders of this site. I run this damn thing. I literally put it together. I change it weekly. But hey, there's links to the Patreon stuff. Maybe you don't know exactly what Patreon is or what you get. I'm sorry. Obviously, we've been lacking a little bit in content, especially for that Patreon stuff. But we are going to be boosting that a lot here in the coming months. It's going to be massive, especially with the October episodes looming. Yeah. This is going to be a big thing. So WisconsinDrunkenHistory.com for Patreon. You can definitely check out our TeePublic. Snag a t-shirt, snag a sweatshirt. This is sweatshirt weather, baby.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. So for less than a price of maybe a single coffee for the whole month, you spend $5 and you get a little bit of extra content.
Support our show.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the biggest thing. That you're helping to support this completely independent thing that we have running here.
It's two guys running social media, websites, scheduling interviews, writing the episodes, getting everything, music together, talking to these bands. It's a lot.
Hey, we
appreciate it.
We out here. So, hey, I'm done talking about that shit. All right, Russ? Let's get right into 10 chimneys. Not 9, not 8,
There's 10.
Not 11. Give me 10.
Sounds good. Here comes number 10, if you will. I just came back from Mexico. I'm finally done.
What the hell is that, French?
So now we can start doing some more of these Patreons, as Eric was talking about. I'm done with Mexico. I got a new job, and here we go. So
I have the same job.
I think before we discuss 10 chimneys, we have to talk about the people behind the home, right? And like I said, in every episode, it's hard to sum this down. Like, this is like the most compressed of both of these people that I could do to save this episode from boring you guys too much, right?
Right, yeah, we don't want to talk about it forever.
So Alfred Lunt Jr. was born in 1892 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was the son of a lumberman and was interested early in theater from the age of 3 years old. He would spend many of his summers in Neenah, Wisconsin, working on his aunt's farm. Neenah, Wisconsin, Neenah Foundry. Shout-outs, guys. And so we have a Wisconsin native here. And Alfred's family would face a divorce, and his mom and stepfather lived in the Genesee Depot area, where his stepfather was a practicing physician. His family faced financial issues and some of them were forced to move back to Finland, which then was under Swedish rule, and to live with his stepfather's family sometimes. So Alfred would spend some summers with his stepfather's family, as said before, where he found the love for Finnish culture. And as a Finn myself, the sorry name, I respect this completely. The idea of sisu, if you guys know what that is, respect. And he would return to Wisconsin during the school year and attend school in Waukesha and his college career at Carroll College, which is also in Waukesha County, where he majored in oratory, which at the time is where he learned the art of persuasion, speaking, writing, and all things in this genre. He appeared in many plays in the area and designed, built, and painted scenery. And in 1912, left the area and made his way to Boston, where he became a successful stage actor, getting acclaim in the area for his role in Clarence in 1919.
Boston.
Hey there, Boston, hey there, guy. Hey, I'm Boston guy. Yeah, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a couple of these guys. Hey,
I like the Celts. Or whatever they say.
Nice Boston.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So Lynn Fontanne, on the other hand, was born in 1887 in England, and also from childhood knew she wanted to be an actress, starting first in a rendition of Cinderella in 1905 as a chorus girl, and would in 1916 move to the U.S. to further expand his career and found success in a role in Dulcie in 1921. The two would fall in love in 1919, where they would meet backstage in a rehearsal in New York. There, hey guy,
hey, pizza.
Get in the trunk there, hey.
So give me a thin slice of pizza.
Hey there. And would end up marrying a couple years later in 1922. Despite all the success Lunt would face, the love for Wisconsin would never leave him. And in 1913, initially bought 3 acres in Genesee Depot, which would slowly morph into the 10 Chimneys home. In 1915, they would hire architect Charles Dornbush, who would begin to draft the first sections of the building, of the house, with the large room with the staircase. And I kind of put this, just think Titanic, how the staircase was, right? You walk in, there's 2 staircases going right and left. Yeah, pretty fancy stuff.
Yeah, that was a really nice staircase.
And that led up to the gallery, which had 2 doors leading to the bedrooms. They were on tour often, and Alfred's mom, Haiti, and his siblings would actually live there year-round. And he and Lynn would join them in the summer months, when they're off stage and kind of home and mingling in the area. Like many, they realized it was a bit weird, even though it was their home, to live with parents. So they set out to build a cottage just for themselves to live in the summers. Constructed from originally was a chicken coop, expanding the property quickly.
Cool.
Yeah, featured many high-class items like a corner brick, stucco fireplaces, sloping chimneys, and a Swedish and Scandinavian decor and inscriptions throughout the home. So they had like these like Swedish,
Give ook und daglig brød. Like, give us our daily bread. Obviously, this is Norwegian, but it's Scandinavian inscriptions. Those are the kind of common ones.
I thought you were choking on something.
Nope, those are kind of your standard home sayings. I know we have some wedding plates that were given to me from my Norwegian side of the family.
Wow.
So they're like old schools. But Lynn's room was different, as she wanted to be chic and reflect the area. Was white on white. And you know, it was all the carpets and other things were stitched in sheepskin. So it was like all nice and clean and chic, you know. She had a Hollywood star, so she needed to have that. And so the two would continue their careers and would land roles together in 1923. They appeared in their first place Sweet Nell of Old Drury, and following year being in The Guardsman, a highly acclaimed and was later made into a movie. And over the years together, they would be in over 140 Broadway plays and were considered the first family of American theater. In 1932, they decided they wanted to live in the main portion of the house and moved Alfred's mom out. Hey, get out of here. Take the kids and get
Would you get the hell out of here?
I'm tired of you guys. All
Pizza.
right. Out to the cottage, and then they renamed the cottage to the hen house. The hen being his mom, obviously, right? I mean,
is that like a mother-in-law's quarters or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much same thing, similar. It's his mom, and so they would continue to add on to the property and would eventually become the 60 acres of land, which is what it is today. And in 1936, they added the L-shaped swimming pool and the cabana, and in 1938, they began to add more into the home, into the main quarters for the cooks and the housekeepers to be able to stay in the home full-time. And in 1939, they added the metal gate you're going to see when you actually come into the property.
Nice.
Yeah, in 1947, they added a chicken coop and a greenhouse to help from and advice from specialists from the UW Ag Department right at University of Wisconsin, which is pretty cool.
Which is awesome because they have an amazing ag department.
Yeah, they do. And one thing I am jealous of is they added a studio in the home, which is pretty sick, right? So they had a rehearsal space, and this was all made out of hewn logs from a building taken apart in Sweden and reassembled onto the property. The paths and retaining walls were also added landscape to kind of tie everything together. And the house would continue to be added, including a music room, hidden room concealed by a bookcase, a flirtation room, which was actually a room where they could bring people and kind of mix and mingle, right? I don't think there was orgies going on there. I don't think it was that racy, but
kind of sounds like it.
They added a lot of Swedish fireplaces that eventually would equal the number 10, thus giving the property its name 10 Chimneys, because the property has 10 chimneys on it, right?
Yeah.
The property was also a functioning farm where oats, flour, alfalfa, and clover were grown. They had livestock, including clowns. Hey, there, clowns. Hey.
They had a bunch of clowns.
Clowns hanging out where butter was made. They churned some clown butter. Chickens and pigs. And also an orchard, which is awesome. Like, they kind of had all this stuff right on the property. And it was a perfect crossover from being a high-class actors and also the roots of Wisconsin and the simpler beginnings, right? Being tied to the farm and the big screen. This property was kind of a combination of both things.
Such a very cool, yeah.
And upon retirement, they would return and spend the rest of their lives in Genesee Depot home. And Alfred would pass away in 1977 and Lynn in 1983. In 1996, art advocate and restaurateur Joseph W. Garton purchased the property, and the 10 Chimneys Foundation was founded to help preserve and share the estate with everyone. Everything is still preserved in its original state and was barely disturbed and left to reflect the era that they came from. The true public opening would happen for the first time in May 26th of 2003, which would have been Alfred Lunt's 81st anniversary. So their wedding was
wedding anniversary.
Pretty cool. And today can still be visited from May through November and still offers a property to theater professionals as a resource and retreat to kind of go there and practice and work on their skills.
Wow.
Pretty cool. And I have yet to visit, but it is definitely on my list of things to do in Wisconsin. And it's just another piece of incredible history. And this is just the backstory. We want you guys to do more digging and get out there, right? Yeah. That's the whole point of this podcast.
Physically go see this place. It's the pictures and stuff. I don't believe they do it justice.
No, not at all.
You and I will definitely have to get out there and physically, see it ourselves. But really cool piece of history.
Yeah, you're gonna see like the old, Art Deco stuff that they had, all that old furniture, that Scandinavian stuff I was talking about. Just a really cool piece of Wisconsin history, and we couldn't be Wisconsin Podcast without featuring 10 Chimneys, right?
Absolutely,
it's a pretty big piece of history here.
I love it.
So that's going to conclude our main segment, and now on to our music segment.
All right, so we are moving on to our music segment.
Yeah, we got a good one today. Actually, one of our Patreon supporters, Andy Herbrand, kind of referenced me to these guys. They were playing at one of the places he was working at. They're called the Folk Circus.
Yeah.
They're out of Janesville, Wisconsin area. They have that folk Americana and bluegrass sound to them. This one specifically, I think, kind of fits the episode, Going Home, the one we chose today.
Right. 10 Chimneys, it just
kind of
sort
garden,
fits.
and it's perfect, right? And yeah, they're just a really good band, kind of up and coming. I think they have a full release album. And like I said, Andy turned me onto these guys, and like, yeah, it's great that they're like right in my backyard. If for those of you who don't know, I live in the Rock County area, so they're right in my backyard. And yeah, these guys are just phenomenal, and I'm so glad Andy turned me on, and just amazing band.
Andy turned you on?
He got me rigid, bro. Thanks, Andy. He kept me rigid out there.
Andy, you know, he's
a good dude.
He's good with his duct tape and other fasteners.
Holy smokes, Andy!
At one point, we'll definitely have to tell that story about Colorado. But anyway,
yeah, it was a fun time, man. And
but this band, Folk Circus, as Russ kind of already said. Just really cool, good music. It's refreshing, and it great musicianship. Again, as we've mentioned a few times with these bands, it's just cool. It's like, you know, a couple of well-oiled musicians that, you know, just really can get in sync with each other, and that's I mean, music is really difficult to do. You know, Russ and I have been in a few different bands together, a few bands apart. We've tried writing our own solo stuff, and we can really, really appreciate what is happening here with all the different bands that we play. And again, Folk Circus is absolutely amazing. This song is called Going Home.
I've seen flowers, I've seen hills, I've seen sage and daffodil, seen rolling hills or wildflowers forever. I've seen blossoms in the trees, blowing back and forth like sea sands fall. Oh, but nothing new compared to the daisies in my lover's hair back home. Got a right, got a right, got a God-given right, got a right, sure as heaven with condone. Got a right, got a God-given right, going home. I ain't cruising anymore, as soon as my feet are through that door, I'm going home. I've driven roads, driven lanes, through the South Dakota plains, had to hike down to the wagon wheel for water. Stood atop the grass plateau, watched the atmospheric light show. And the wind blowing through my hair told me secrets I can't share with the folks back home. Got a right, got a right, got a God-given right, got a right, as sure as heaven will condone. Got a right, got a right, got a God-given right to going home. I ain't cruising anymore, soon as my feet are through that door, I'm going home. Got a God-given right, got a right as sure as heaven will condone. Got a right, got a right, got a God-given right to going home.
That was good.
I like it, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's kind of folk Americana, like I said. It's like that old timey sound a little bit.
I feel like you can hear a train. There's not a train, but it's a. Yep, that's that drive.
That train snare.
Yep, it's the drive, man. For the whole song, though, it's not just the snare, but like, I've talked to our friend Connor Scarrow of the show. No Show Cadillac is what he goes by on his for his band, but I've talked to him 100 times about, hey, this music that features like banjo and that sort of like washboard kind of shit. I'm attracted to it because it sounds simple, but to you and I, that is difficult, man. What's really different about a banjo, and I won't go on forever about this, but the fretboard it's like halfway down, it becomes another string. Like they add in a whole nother like thing, Right. The top is just like 3 strings, and the bottom all of a sudden they add that fourth or whatever. It's a wild instrument, and I call it the stringed snare drum because it kind of is. And I just absolutely love everything about this music, and I'm so glad that, like you said, Andy kind of pointed us out to Folk Circus, and now we have this whole other band that we can just listen to. So.
Yeah, it's great, and definitely go and check them out, either on their social medias or their band, the band camps, the usual things to reach out to bands. Yeah. These guys are great. Book them for a show or something too, local shows or. But yeah, we love these guys, and we hope we can do what we can to get the word out. And thanks again, Folk Circus, for letting us use your music.
So we have a beverage review, and this one is from Minocqua Brewing Company, which my in-laws have a place in Minocqua, and so that was kind of like my first time ever going up there was with them, and to kind of experience that area. Was really fun. And then I started hearing about the brewing company, and it just so happened that it was kind of during a weird time for them. Their building was sort of shut down during COVID, and they just had way too much real estate for just brewing beer, so then however it may be, they ended up basically leasing or selling their brewery building, their facility, to Oak Fire Pizza.
Yep.
And I have now since eaten at that facility. They are absolutely amazing. Obviously, keep in mind, hey, everybody's experiencing staff shortages, so don't be rude to your wait staff. They're doing their best they can with the means that they have.
Yeah,
but
I've been so bummed about Minocqua, the Paul Bunyan restaurant, which is like always my
still
stop
hasn't
up
reopened,
north.
yeah.
Because they can't find enough help, and the Paul Bunyan restaurant was like always my stop up north.
Yeah,
right? Like that is the place to go to get a big old breakfast. But yeah, I mean, like everywhere's having hiring issues, right? It's not just Oak Fire; it's everywhere.
Right. So Minocqua Brewing Company then moved into a new facility where they are basically just focusing on the brewing operations. And so this beer is kind of a product of that. And this one in particular is called the Bernie Brew, and it has a wonderful characterized picture of Bernie Sanders, a politician, just all around a decent dude. He's a Vermont senator, or not senator, Vermont whatever. And obviously the memes that are about him with the mittens, those sort of took off within the last year, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, in this one, I love Minocqua Brewing Company, and but the thing is with the podcast, we don't want to get political, right? So we're going to kind of beat around the bush and just talk about the beer itself, and not because there's some pretty cool stuff on the can, but we don't want to read some of it because we don't want to offend anybody. We're not going to get into politics. That's not what we want to do, right? It's just the Bernie Brew. It's
as a part of our show, what we do is not political, so we don't want to kind of dive into that. I just thought that this beer, I found it at Total Wine, by the way. I thought that this beer looked very interesting, and I thought, I don't think we've actually even featured a beer from Minocqua Brewing Company. We've talked about Minocqua Brewing Company, but as far as tasting or reviewing a beer, this is our first one, and it's great.
It is called something specifically, but it's technically a lager, right? We're not going to go into the politics, so we're not doing anything political out the can. Like, I just don't want to get into that right now. But it is a lager. It's coming in at 4% ABV, and low on the IBU scales. Again, it's coming in at 28 IBUs. And
Yeah.
you're probably getting your standard like lager hops in this one. So it's very low on the hop. It's more the maltiness up front.
I was just gonna say, did you get the maltiness almost in a like a chocolatey, coffee-ish?
Yeah, it kind of has that bitter back end note like a coffee almost. But obviously the IBUs are lower. It's like a MGD on steroids, right? Because it's a lager too, right? But it's like an MGD on steroids.
Yeah.
It's more of malt. Obviously, I don't think they're using corn in this, to be honest. They're not cheapening their beers up. These are craft beers.
No,
So
these are craft beers. Yeah.
So they're using more of the lager malts they're going to use to make a lager.
And it tastes great. You can definitely tell that it's a malty forward beer. It's great.
Yeah, it's very good. It's definitely, at the 4% ABV, like it's a drinkable beer. You're not going to get messed up. The can art, like Eric said, is really cool. Obviously, you got a picture of Bernie Sanders on the front. Bernie Brew.
I wish they would have just used the mittens one though, man.
Yeah,
The cross-leg mittens.
Has a smiling face of the Bernie we all know.
The man himself.
With some green and white. I think it's a great layout on the can. Obviously, I don't want to get into the politics, so I'm not going to read the description off the can. But the one cool thing is 5% of the profits do go to the super PAC that they do own.
Yes.
Which we're not going to get into if they're left or right. We don't want to do that. But
Sure.
some of these can sales are going into their super PAC, which support the candidates or whatever issues they're supporting, right? Which is pretty cool that they have the money and the means to be able to support whatever they're supporting. But yeah, I mean, Minocqua Brewing Company. I mean, if you want to learn more about them, just check out their
And the one thing that I will
social
say,
medias, right?
yeah, the one thing that I will say that hopefully doesn't necessarily go into the political side of things, but Bernie has always been just a self-funded type thing, independently funded, which I can absolutely respect, and I think that everybody can certainly respect. The one side of politics that always sort of seems to be the worst is the funded side, and people always have that agenda, especially when they're trying to give hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to a political candidate to kind of push that agenda. And I think the one thing that I can certainly respect from Bernie Sanders is that he doesn't take money from them. And what I really like about this beer is that it is that super malty forward, which you don't necessarily get from most lagers that are considered like domestic, highly distributed beers. The malt forwardness of this truly represents, I think, what a lager is and should be, and just really well crafted.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like a Budweiser or a MGD, right? But it's like you can tell it's more refined and more crafted. If they were to put money back into the good beer that Miller used to make, this is what it would be, right? Like this is like a very good brewer. If you're branching out to the craft world, another one that you could start with, right? It's a lager. You're not branching that far out from your Pilsners, your MGDs.
This is going to be just a little darker, a little deeper flavor than what you're getting out of, let me just say, like a Budweiser, like I guess you keep mentioning Miller Genuine Draft.
That's what it reminds me of. It's really close to a GD, obviously better crafted and better quality, because they mass produce that, right? This is a smaller batch than Miller's producing, right?
And they are cheapening the beer on that side. Miller does that, and again, I'm not going to say too much about it. They keep putting money into. Back into our community, and I thank them for that. But the beer itself has sometimes taken a little hit. The one thing I will say positively about Miller and the fine folks over at the Coors, that whole conglomerate, is that Leinenkugels has maintained their sort of individuality and their craftness for the product.
They're
that
just
they put out.
owned for the profits, correct?
Right. It's a distribution thing mostly, but it just those beers still remain sort of untouched as far as the recipes, and it's great. And Minocqua Brewing Company, keep doing what you're doing. I absolutely love it. And the beer has absolutely shone through during these dark times.
Yeah, and if you want, again, go and check out Minocqua Brewing Company, MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Check their social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you want to learn more about
Total Wine sells their product, which is the only place that I've seen canned beers sold. So definitely go and buy them. Regardless of anything, small business, man. If you want to keep tasting really good craft beer, you're going to have to buy it.
Grab a seat, gather round, join us for a chat. How many locos you have?
All right, everyone. You know what that fucking sound means. We're about to dive into a really tasty tale of the old DUIs. and hey, this one is truly hodaggy, if you will.
It's got the dag.
It's got the dag, baby.
All right.
We are up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, where a man was arrested for his fourth offense OWI after being pulled over at what? A Quick Trip?
Oh my.
This reminds me of a educator that recently. Anyway, so a 50-year-old Rhinelander man was arrested for his fourth OWI on Friday. A Wisconsin state troop saw what he believed to be drug paraphernalia in plain view in a vehicle at a Quick Trip. The driver of that vehicle admitted to smoking a little bit of Mary Jane.
A little MJ.
A little MJ, not a big deal. Just prior to pulling into that parking lot. So the odor of intoxicants was detected from the suspect, and a standardized field sobriety test was performed. And the man was subsequently arrested for his fourth OWI, which tells me that the tests did not turn out in his favor.
Nope.
He's also facing charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, open intoxicants.
So it was liquor.
Yep. And endangering safety by being in possession of a firearm while under the influence. Hey, if there's one thing that we've taught you here in this show is, don't be stupid. What is the point? What are you doing?
So let's regale this quest we got. Quick Trip, weed,
Yeah.
open intoxicants,
Yep.
50-year-old man.
Firearm.
50-year-old man too. Like that plays into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Fourth OWI.
If there's anyone that shouldn't be doing all of this, it's a 50-year-old man. However, clearly we do still have those individuals as
So this one's an easy one to gauge for me because we got the number of OWIs. He's 50 years old. And
he failed field sobriety tests.
But the only reason he got pulled over is because of an open. They saw some like a bong or something. Bong or something.
If he's driving with a fucking bong, that's ridiculous.
ripping a missile while he's freaking driving down the freeway.
God dang, dude.
Holy
Just bubbles
smokes.
going, baby.
But I think I got a number for this one. I mean, 50 fourth OWI kind of says it all, right? I mean, this guy's been around for a while. And only 4 in that amount of time, which, I am lucky enough I haven't had one. But, for that amount of time to only have 4 in his 50s, he didn't get pulled over for swerving or driving reckless. It's just that he was high and he had a couple open intoxicants, couple road sodas open.
And you could see something drug-related, and the state trooper was keen to that. Paid attention and saw that.
See ya.
Yeah, hey, put your fucking bong away, bro.
Put it in the glove box.
Jesus Christ. Spill water all over your important documents.
Right.
The one thing I will say is it's not easy for me on this one.
No, I think I got a number.
I'm not drawing an easy number here.
You're not.
I have an idea. But
I mean, mine's pretty low, to be honest. I'm not super
not
low.
low.
You're not low?
No.
I'm pretty low.
Well, you know what?
He's not reckless.
Now
right?
that you tell me this, it makes sense. So let's, on 3, on your count of 3,
sure.
Let's go ahead and just pop our number right away.
So 3, 2, 1,
4.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You definitely influenced my number.
Yeah, the guy's 50 years old. He wasn't swerving, wasn't causing any public harm, but at the same time, he's intoxicated. Beer bong, a bong, whatever he's ripping in there. Ripping missiles, whatever you're doing. I think he's lower on the scale. Fourth WI, 50 years old. I think he has some tolerance. I think he's driving just fine. I think this officer's like, oh, hey, pipe or bong or whatever, and he pulled him over, right?
Yeah, and
the guy was stupid about it. I mean, the guy's a dumbass on top of it, but I don't think he was like that intoxicated. So I think a 6 loco translated.
Well, and I think that's actually a really good point to make is that if you have, let's just meet in the middle, 5.
Yeah,
if you're at a 5 loco, you can definitely make a ridiculous error of, having a roach right out in front of everybody,
Freaking Cheech over there.
Exactly, a roach with the tongs, or what do they call it? Tweezers.
Little tweezers.
Sorry, tongs. Mini.
He has fucking full grill tongs, smoking, ripping a little Cheech.
Whoops. I've been grilling a lot lately.
Clap them tongs, baby.
If you haven't gathered that yet, I have been grilling a lot lately. In fact, that was brought on by our brother over at It's Wisconsin. I've been grilling a lot of Johnsonville.
Really, you've been going back to the JV,
and I don't love
They're
Johnsonville,
not bad.
but the brats that I have been seeing at festival, and hey, no harm meant here, but the brats that I've been seeing at festival haven't been good lately. But their stock on Johnsonville, I'm
not bad.
I'm seeing them looking good.
I actually, like I said, like when you got a family coming over, dude, some of their brats are pretty good.
And I'm only looking at the 5-pack.
I'm
always looking at 5-packs.
You're not looking at the big dog where it's the box with like 20
I never
of them?
get like
okay.
I don't go bulk on it because it's just myself and my wife, and and Maisie gets a couple brats every once in a while. But
I like a finely crafted brat, right? When it's just me eating them, or maybe one of the kids are eating them, I always get a finely crafted brat. Like I'll spend a little more, but when I got family coming over, the J-Villes do the trick, and they're pretty tasty.
When it's your son's birthday or something, or any of your kids' birthdays, it's like you get a big family pack, and you're good to go.
Hey buddy, here's a dog, and you just throw in their buns.
Exactly, have a sausage.
Throw in their bun and get out of here.
So, for some reason, we're now East Coasters, but yeah, what I will say is that it's Wisconsin. The pocket brat, it's catching on, man. I actually revised it a little bit. I put it into a Ziploc and I put it in my desk drawer.
Oh,
and then like all of a sudden 10 o'clock hits, and guess what, man?
You suck.
Coffee's over, and I'm sucking a fucking brat. I actually had a coworker look at me the other day and was like,
holy smokes.
We didn't exchange words.
You don't look someone in the eye when you have a brat.
She looked me in the eye and saw me with a Ziploc of a brat. No bun, no condiment, just brat.
Never look anyone in the eye when they have a brat in between their teeth. All right.
Is that a brat in your file cabinet, or are you just happy to see me?
It's a brat in the file cabinet. So, all right, Eric, will you sound the gavel? We got 5 local on this one. All right, today we're here with Kevin from Our Noggin Brewing. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. We're glad to have you on today. Thanks for taking the time. I know it's Labor Day weekend when we're recording this episode, so we're super excited to have you.
Super excited.
I appreciate being here, guys.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit about the brewery and how you guys did the name as well?
Yeah.
Sure. So I think we're, by definition, a true nano brewery. We have a 2-barrel system, and 6 different fermentation tanks. So we are quite small. We're tap room only. We don't do any distribution yet. But that allows us the flexibility, being so small batch, that we do just a huge array of beers. So to date, we've probably done close to 200 different beers since being open.
Smokes. Awesome.
Yeah, since being open, we change. We tell people all the time, it's like every weekend you come in, it's going to be a new tap list, or something will be new. Yeah, so it's been exciting. It's been fun to bring just tons of new styles and flavors to the local community here, and get people's feedback and hear what they want. And being so small, we take that feedback seriously, and we'll go brew something for them. So
absolutely,
it's really fun to be small and connected the way we are right now.
And honestly, I can't even say how important that is. I think to the whole sort of small batch kind of brewing or nano brewing, because your clientele is literally telling you exactly what they want, and that's
exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a really unique connection when you're connecting with consumers on that level. It's very different than large batch, 6 packs, 12 packs going to a store. It's we're getting the immediate feedback every day from our customers, so it's really fun and exciting.
Awesome. And yeah, so the Our Noggin name, how did you guys come up with the cool name?
Sure. So Our Noggin was started by me, my brother, and my dad, who are all still involved today. And really, me and my brother were the brewers historically. My dad was just more of a financial guy to kind of help us figure out all that fun piece of the business. But as we sat down and started thinking about a name, it was one of those things where we wanted it to be something a little bit different, but also kind of do a play on words, because we're kind of fun. We like doing fun stuff with names. We like doing fun stuff with our art. And so we wanted our name to kind of reflect a little bit of that. And so it really is just a play on, our noggin is really just, the R is short for for OUR.
Nice.
It's our heads coming together to brew beer. And I think we talked a little bit about that a second ago. Just, when we talk about our heads, it started off as me and Jeff, but it's really everyone, everyone that comes in and says, hey, brew, I want you to brew something like this or something like that. And so we put our heads together and we'll brew the beer. And so that play on words has really gone into a lot of what we do from a marketing perspective, in terms of how we like to keep it what we call Crayola dark, which is fun.
Yeah.
A little edgy and a lot of hidden messages and stuff. And
I love it.
If you get a chance to come to the tap room, you'll notice that we're a product of the 80s. And so a lot of our artwork and a lot of our naming schemes, you'll see a lot of references to either old cartoons or old movies and things like that, and we just like to twist them around and make them unique to us. So
are you at all into like the old 80s kind of synth pop stuff?
No, not necessarily. More
okay.
What I would consider 80s horror and 80s.
Nice.
Yeah. So one of our main beers, we do have a main beer that sticks around more often than not, is our cream ale. And that one, if you've ever seen the movie Critters, 1, 2, 3, or 4, that whole label and everything is based on that movie Critters. So
I love it.
So we do the horror stuff, and then we also do we have some Scooby-Doo references in there, and
Mystery Machine and Velma. Yeah,
the Master Machine, and Daphne. She hangs out at our brewery.
Cool.
She's in a lot of our artwork. So.
I'll tell you what, Daphne probably easily is that one of those initial kind of figures that young males can sort of align with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
I can't get the Daphne, dude. I'm going straight.
I'm going Velma.
Yeah. Right.
Velma.
I love it.
So if you look at a lot of our artwork, the girl in all of our artwork is usually wearing a rabbit head. It's Daphne.
Awesome.
In all of our artwork, just wearing a rabbit head. So.
Super cool. And then I know, before we let you go, I know obviously you're changing beers all the time, but is there something we need to keep an eye out for a new good brew coming up?
That's a good question. We, I'd like to say, right now I would say watch Facebook for the most part, because we're always posting what's coming and what's next. We do have our anniversary party coming up, October 15th. We're going to be releasing a handful of new beers. We're targeting at least 5. New beers coming up for the anniversary party.
Sick.
Which should be a lot of fun. And then really our big one every year is our bourbon barrel aged Russian Imperial. That comes out Christmas time every year. Last year our barrel failed on us, and so we didn't have it last year. So it's been on a 2-year hiatus. But I'm actually headed into the brewery tomorrow to do all the bottling.
So this is like a revitalization of it.
Yeah, so this will be the third release of it. It comes in anywhere between 14 and 16%. It's a fantastic beer, and it's one I look forward to every year. It's probably the one thing that I look forward to every year is that beer.
Yes.
And so I would say keep an eye out for that one. That's the big one for us every year.
Great, Kevin. Thank you so much. And you already covered the events, which we were going to go over, which is awesome. So we're going to ask you before you leave. Obviously, we do the How Wisconsin Are You segment. It's about 8 questions, just random, to find out how Wisconsin are you. And they're just fun. They're not crazy, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one I got for you, when it comes to beer brats, is there our noggin beer we need to try to make a beer brat with?
Absolutely. I would say use a beer that we have called Tan Cans. It's a mango habanero blonde ale. That's what I use every time, and it's fantastic. Put a few onions in there and let the brat soak in there. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, you get a little spice from that habanero. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be absolutely great. Have you ever milked a cow?
I have, yes.
Holy cow.
See?
What the heck has been going on lately? This is crazy.
I love it. I love the fact that we're finding
awesome.
everybody that's milked a cow.
That's insane. And so I guess the next one then for me, have you ever been to Summerfest? And do you have a memorable concert you saw there if you have been there?
Yeah, I used to go to Summerfest every year. I'd go multiple times a year. I love live music and live shows.
Good.
And my music, just for me personally, goes across the board. So I'd say I have 2 concerts that were really stuck out to me. First one would be that Seven Dust. And I don't know, a lot of people probably don't know
Seven Dust. I love Seven Dust.
Dejan, man, that guy's awesome vocals.
It was just a wild concert. And then the second one was Motley Crue. I saw Motley Crue about 6 or 7 years ago now.
The Crue.
And tell you that I'm a product of the 80s. It was the one band really from the 80s that I never got to see live. And so it was my first time seeing them live, and Tommy Lee was on the drums, and it was just insane.
Sounds awesome.
Tommy Lee is an absolute sick percussionist. I absolutely love everything he has to do, and I love his story more so than anything. I think. I mean,
absolutely,
he's such a cool guy. Now with winter looming, I don't want to bring it on too quickly. I'm sorry. It is still September here, but have you ever operated a snowblower?
Yes. Yes, I have. I think living in Wisconsin my entire life, I don't think you can get by without a snowblower.
It's almost like a rite of passage.
It is.
You teach the one next to you how to operate the chute and the drive and all the things. And now bonus points here if you've operated a Aaron's snowblower.
I actually have. So Jeff, my brother, has an Aaron's.
Sweet.
And so he used to live directly across the street from me, so I would always just go over there and borrow his.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I love it. I think my Aaron's is I think it's a 28, but it's absolutely amazing. I love it, and it is literally as Wisconsin as it comes. When you see me swearing in the morning, just clearing my driveway and getting a blast of snow in the face because I didn't turn the chute the way it was supposed to with the wind blowing. I love it.
Yep.
All right, so the next one I got for you, supper clubs. You're in the Kenosha area. Do you have a supper club you recommend to our listeners go and check out?
Oh, supper club. I'm trying to remember the name of the place. Me and my wife go out there a couple times every summer. It's out just past Geneva, right on Lake Como, and I can't remember the name of it.
Man, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
We go there 3 or 4 times, and the names, I'm just drawing a blank on the name.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's one of my favorite as well.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on one of the episodes recently.
On one of the ones recently, Village.
Yeah, I would say
Village Supper Club.
Look it up and check it out there. It's one of the best supper clubs, right on the water. You can actually sit with your toes in the water and drink. They'll come out and serve you drinks. So it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, the Village is right in Delavan area. It's on Delavan Lake, and then there's also Hobnob, I think, in the Racine area.
Yeah, Hobnob. That's North Kenosha.
Yep.
Right before you get into Racine, that's also a really good one. That one to me, from a price perspective, is a little more pricey, but we do go there maybe once a year for a nice dinner.
Right,
great views of Lake Michigan if you sit at the bar.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Eric, you got another one for him? Otherwise, I got a couple more.
Why don't you hit them? Yeah.
Sure. So, have you ever tailgated at a Brewers, Packers, or a Badgers game, or all three, which is the trifecta?
I have done the trifecta, and interestingly enough,
nice.
I was just at the Brewers game last night. We took a bus up there with a bunch of people and
nice.
And tailgated and partied and saw the game last night. So
that's so
like
good.
I said, little rough this morning, but it's a great time. But yeah, I've done all three.
You're in good company because we were both a little rough this morning.
I'm a little haggard today, so I'll tell you what. I definitely had my fair share of beverages last night, and these episodes that are coming out in the next coming weeks are going to be authentic as hell.
So I got one more question before we let you go, and this is always the hardest one to ask because it's so crazy. I mean, besides our noggin, is there a brewery tour, a brewery or tap room, and it doesn't have to be in Wisconsin, that you recommend our listeners go and check out?
Honestly, I'm going to give two. So from a tour perspective, if you haven't been down to Chicago, down to, and I always pronounce their name a little wrong, but Lagunitas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the tour down there is fantastic. The whole experience down there is fantastic from the minute you enter the door to the time you leave. they've really spared no expense in making it such a unique and interesting experience. And so from a tour perspective, absolutely do that if you haven't done it. We've actually taken bus tours out of Arnoggan down there with a bunch of our customers just to take them down to that tour with them. And so it's something we highly recommend. From a tap room perspective, if you get to Michigan, Old Nation is probably top 5 for me when it comes to both beer, tap room people. It's really some really great products coming out of that tap room. And so you can pick it up here in Wisconsin. I believe they started distributing here just recently in the last few months. So if you want to try it before you go, absolutely do that. But if you get a chance to go over there, I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome. Kevin?
Yeah. Lagunitas is something. Is it something special or something like that?
That's a great beer.
So good.
That is a good one.
Little something or something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good beer.
Oh my God,
Little
that
something.
is so good.
That's their ale, little something ale.
That's a really tasty.
I love it. I do. I really do.
But Kevin, thank you so much for taking your time out of your Sunday to come on the show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it,
absolutely.
and we can't wait to get down there. And maybe one of these days we can do a little tour and talk more beer and history with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, guys.
All right, perfect. You have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will talk soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye.
All right, bye.
All right, that concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, please like and subscribe on whatever streaming platform you prefer. And remember to hit the bell on YouTube to be notified when we release new content.
Also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for future episodes, please send us an email at widrunkenhistory@gmail.com or head over to our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Thanks again for listening, and remember, as always,
Watch out for deer on your way home.